Documents in the archive take many forms, from books to large rolled maps to digital media, and they're all made of different materials. The majority of historic documents in archive collections, however, are made of paper. Paper was first made in China in the 2nd century AD, and it was being made in Europe by the 12th century. It eventually began to take the place of its predecessor, parchment, as a writing surface. Today we may think of paper as a cheap and disposable material, but early historic paper is very durable and many examples have survived well. This paper from the late 17th century is in great condition. It's very strong and flexible. Here is the paper under magnification. And here's some 20th century paper, which is already much more fragile. Paper is made from cellulose, which can come from a number of plant sources. Good paper is made from linen or cotton rags. This was how historic paper was made. The cotton that had spent its life being worn as clothes had a second life after being broken down and reformed as sheets of paper. The fact that it had been washed, worn and processed made the fibres ideal for paper making. Later on, as demand for paper increased, other sources of cellulose had to be included in paper making. This is how wood pulp came to be introduced into paper in the 1860s, which would bring problems for conservators in years to come. It soon became apparent that paper made from the early experimental wood processing methods is inherently unstable. It becomes acidic as it ages and rapidly becomes brittle, discoloured and fragile. Like this cheap paper from around 1900. The fibres are so short the paper has no strength. I have to say, no archive documents were harmed in the making of this film. When paper is made, either by hand or on an industrial scale, the cellulose fibres are randomly suspended in the watery pulp solution. As the pulp is formed into sheets and the water is removed, the fibres arrange themselves more or less haphazardly, depending on the manufacture process. The flow of water creates a grain in the paper. You may have noticed a paper with a strong grain is easy to tear in one direction, but will not tear neatly in the opposite. As the sheet dries, the fibres bond together at a molecular and structural level. As paper ages, these bonds can be broken by chemical reactions, hydrolysis and oxidation, and as we saw, the paper's fibrous structure breaks down. In conservation, we can arrest the acidic decay by introducing alkaline substances into the paper. To repair paper, I use a variety of traditional Japanese tissues made from plants that yield long fibres, which are ideal for mending paper and give great structural strength. Using a cellulose-based adhesive, the repairs blend well with the historic paper. Some of the tissue is comparable to leather in strength, whereas others are more like cobwebs. Today, most of the world's paper is made from wood pulp, but high-quality papers are still made from rags. Paper made today often has alkaline substances added to the pulp to slow the acidic aging process. Good quality office paper is now designed to last, so hopefully documents produced today will survive better than the wood pulp papers of the last 100 years or so. I hope you've enjoyed this very quick introduction to the hidden nature of paper, and thank you for listening.